When was the last time you stopped and truly asked yourself, is this the life I was meant to live? Not the one passed down through family expectations. Not the one praised by society or dressed in achievements, but a life that feels like home to your soul. Carl Jung, one of the deepest minds in modern psychology, once offered us a truth most people run from. That real peace begins when you finally choose yourself, even when the world around you demands you don't. We live in a system built to keep you distracted, where your time, your focus, and your identity are pulled in a dozen directions before you've even had your morning coffee. From deadlines to duties, from comparison traps to societal norms, you are constantly being told who you should be. And in that noise, something sacred gets pushed aside. Each time you silence your desires to please someone else, you quietly teach your inner self that it doesn't matter. You send a message, wordless, but loud. You're not a priority, yet within you always there's been a whisper, a quiet, persistent voice from the depths of your subconscious. It doesn't yell, it doesn't fight, it simply waits, hoping you'll turn inward and listen. Jung believed this connection to our inner world, our unconscious, is not just important but essential. But too often we mute it, we numb it, because hearing the truth requires facing discomfort. That discomfort you feel when something just doesn't sit right, when life looks fine on the outside but hollow on the inside, that's not confusion. That's a signal. That's your soul whispering that change is overdue. It's asking you to pause and pay attention, to question, to change, even if change scares you. So let me ask you, how many of your recent choices came from your core truth, from alignment, and how many were made out of fear of being judged, fear of letting someone down, fear of stepping away from what's familiar? Jung didn't just study the mind, he understood the heart, and he warned us. When you make decisions disconnected from your inner truth, life begins to unravel. The more you drift from your true self, the more life starts to feel like a maze with no exit. But let's be clear, choosing yourself does not mean neglecting others. It does not mean abandoning love or responsibility. It's a sacred return. It's the recognition that before you can show up for anyone else, before you can love deeply, give freely, or grow fully, you must first come home to yourself. This is what Jung called the root of self-love. Not indulgence, not escape, but the solid ground beneath every meaningful connection you will ever have. Because when you choose yourself, something begins to shift. Not just inside you, but around you. When you finally put yourself first, something subtle but deeply powerful starts to shift within you. You begin to move differently. You speak more honestly. And without forcing it, the world around you begins to shift too. Suddenly, people and opportunities that truly reflect who you are start to show up. And the ones that never fit, they quietly fall away. It's as if life itself responds to your inner alignment, clearing out what's false and gently guiding you toward what's real. You begin to say no, not out of anger, not out of fear, but from a place of clarity. A place where you no longer feel the need to explain yourself to everyone. You no longer carry the guilt of choosing peace over pressure. And the greatest gift of all, you start to feel free. Free to be who you are without apology. Now maybe you're wondering, where do I even begin? The truth is, this path doesn't start with some massive leap. It begins with something simple. You pause. You listen. Every time you feel discomfort, uncertainty, or a surge of emotion, pause and ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? Because often, the guidance we beg for out in the world has been quietly waiting inside us all along. Jung said it best. The answers you search for are already within you. You just need the courage to stop, listen, and act. But let's be honest, following that inner voice isn't easy. Sometimes it asks you to walk away from things you've built your whole identity around. A relationship that once felt like home. A job that looks perfect on paper but drains your spirit. A dream you've chased because it's what others expected of you. And yet, deep down, you feel it. That quiet knowing that something no longer fits. Jung taught us that ignoring this inner truth isn't strength. It's abandonment. It's abandoning yourself. To choose yourself is to have the courage to release what no longer aligns. And yes, it's uncomfortable. We cling to the familiar because it's safer than the unknown. We convince ourselves that staying is easier than starting over. But here's the shift Jung invites us to make. What if this isn't an ending? What if this moment of discomfort is actually a beginning? A doorway, a chance to walk through and meet a version of yourself that you've always felt, just beneath the surface. So ask yourself gently, what are you still holding on to out of fear? What belief, what habit, what connection feels heavy but too familiar to release? You may believe that letting go would mean losing something important. But here's the truth. The deeper loss is sacrificing your inner peace for the sake of holding on. And the decision is always yours. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now, are you ready to return to yourself? Because choosing you is not betrayal. It's devotion. For far too long, we've been told that self-prioritization is selfish. That to choose ourselves is to let others down. But that's a lie. The real betrayal is abandoning your own self just to meet someone else's expectations. When you finally decide to honor who you are, fully, consciously, something miraculous happens. It's like a fog begins to lift. And for the first time in years, maybe decades, the world looks different. Clearer, sharper, real. You see who was truly standing with you, and who was simply there to benefit from your silence, your sacrifice, your shrinking. This shift isn't punishment, it's revelation. Because once you begin to walk in alignment with your truth, only what aligns will stay. This isn't coincidence, it's alignment. What's shifting on the outside is simply a reflection of the work you've begun within. As your internal world clears, your external world follows. What used to drain you begins to fade. What once felt heavy no longer holds weight. But don't mistake this transformation for something easy. To truly choose yourself, you must face something most people spend a lifetime avoiding: radical honesty with yourself. This journey isn't just about drawing boundaries or changing direction. Sometimes it means standing face to face with your past, looking at the moments when you silenced your truth to keep others comfortable, admitting the times you betrayed your own voice just to be accepted, recalling the decisions you made not from freedom but from fear. But this isn't where the story ends. This isn't where you beat yourself up or drown in guilt. This is where you reclaim your power. Because every time you see yourself clearly, every time you acknowledge the truth instead of running from it, you are given a sacred opportunity to choose differently, to begin again. Authenticity isn't a finish line. It's a lifelong unfolding. You won't arrive at it in a single day. You will grow into it, slowly, steadily, moment by moment. And yes, you will be tested. You will have days when doubt whispers louder than clarity, when the past tempts you to return to what once felt safe, when your old self knocks on the door, asking for one more chance. But remember this: growth doesn't happen where you are comfortable. It happens when you lean into the discomfort, when you step beyond the walls you built to protect yourself, when you stop playing small to fit into spaces that were never meant to hold you. And here's another truth. Not everyone will applaud your transformation. Some will resist it. They'll say you've changed, as if that's a bad thing. They'll pull back, question your choices, call you selfish. But they are not your compass. Choosing yourself means learning to live without needing validation. It means discovering that your worth was never meant to be measured by how others see you, but by how you see yourself. As you begin to walk in truth, the world doesn't stay the same. Not because of magic, not because of luck, but because you've stopped bending yourself to match what doesn't belong to you. You start to notice the shift. Relationships change. New doors open. Old weights lift. And what once felt like chaos starts to feel like clarity. Still, this evolution isn't instant. It isn't clean or easy. It takes time. Takes patience. Takes grace. There will be days you feel like you're making progress, and others when you question if you've moved at all. Old patterns may resurface. Old voices may echo, but this is the test. Can you stay loyal to yourself, even when it's hard, even when you're alone, even when it would be easier to go back? Because the truth is, you're not going backward. You're shedding. You're shedding who you're not, so who you are can finally rise. So I invite you, choose you. Not just once in some grand declaration, but every single day. In the small moments, the quiet choices, the simple boundaries. That's where transformation truly begins. This is your call to action. Life is too precious, too short, to stay imprisoned by the need to be liked, to be approved, to be accepted by everyone but yourself. This is the moment to step away from the noise, to confront the fear you've been avoiding, to face the shadows you've tucked away, to finally listen to the still, unwavering voice within you whispering, "Come home." So now I ask you, what part of your life feels aligned with who you really are? And what part of it feels borrowed, forced, or fake? What are you still clinging to that no longer reflects your growth? What would happen if you let it go? You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to have it all figured out. Every small act of honesty, every tiny moment of alignment is a victory. And above all, please remember, you are not walking this path alone. This space, this channel exists to remind you of your worth, your courage, your capacity to rise. If something in this message touched something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who's searching, with someone who's tired, with someone who, like you, is ready to remember who they really are. Every comment, every like, every share, it's not just engagement. It's impact. It's a ripple. And it could be the very thing someone else needs to hear today. Imagine the power we could create. A collective of people who have the courage to be real, to be seen, and to live from truth instead of performance. Now it's your turn. Let me know in the comments, what part of this spoke to your soul? What shift are you ready to make today, even if it's small? Because your voice matters, your story matters, and your journey is more than just yours. It's a beacon for others still searching for their way back to themselves. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, so you never miss another reminder of what already lives within you. Together, we can carry this message further. Together, we can remind the world, the most powerful decision you will ever make is the one where you finally choose to be who you truly are.